No. It was all a lie. No. Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Let's start!
The release of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice has erupted this huge debate in the gaming community about whether or not games should have easy modes. If I pay for a game, am I entitled to see the whole thing through to completion? Or is it ultimately the designer's prerogative as to the experience that they specifically want to craft? Player be damned. Are difficult games just needless gatekeeping? Or are they actually forcing players to confront adversity in an effort to create a truly rewarding experience when they do eventually succeed?
True, it's like, you shall not pass! And it's like, you win! Yeah!
Well, today, I'm not here to actually take a stand on that controversial topic. Nope! No way, Internet! I have learned my lesson.
Alright, so thank you so much for watching this video. If you don't like this video, please consider to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. Yeah, I know. I'm joking. I was joking. Alright, so you can see the timeline. The video is still good. It's ongoing. Alright, let's continue watching this video. Yeah.
I have stepped on these sorts of landmines way too many times in the past, so no siree, Bob. I am standing here to tell you the much less controversial statement that, well, you're just not as good at games as you think you are. What? Is this bad too?
Oh my god! Oh, burn! Ah, let me just. Oh my god! Just so.
Is it worse? No, it's true. It's a fact. It's a fact. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory!
Yeah, welcome back to Game Theory! Blech.
Where today, I'm not here to tell you to get good, I'm here to tell you to get better. So, this easy mode controversy has really blown up, hasn't it? It seems like every time From Software releases a game, the debate around video game difficulty just crops up, which makes sense. Honestly. I mean, this is a company that literally made a name for itself by giving their games taglines like Prepare to Die Edition. The entire library of From Software, the entire brand of this company has been made on just taunting the players to try and beat their games. They're like this older brother who just constantly grabs your arm and smacks you and says, "Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Stop it!"
Stop it! Right, stop it! Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Stop it! Alright, just stop.
Stop it! God, you give these guys an inch and they take a mile. Holy jeez. Sekiro, though, is the game that made the dam burst, quite frankly. What used to be just a few trickles of discussion here and there has suddenly broken forth and flooded the gaming community with a fully fledged controversy, prompting dozens of articles and YouTube videos, all debating the pros and cons of including difficulty sliders in your game. Because, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2019, and if there's outrage to be had, gosh darn it, outrage shall be had. Oh, and by the way, you're a terrible person and should be ashamed of yourself if you picked the wrong side. Unfortunate thing is, apparently they're both wrong sides. So today, I am not—
Unfortunate thing is, both are not necessarily the... yeah. Yes.
I'm gonna pick a side. Today I am here to say that this whole thing is dumb because you've probably been playing on easy modes for your entire life without even realizing it.
Maybe.
And that is not an opinion. Heck, it is barely even a theory.
Dark Souls have no... Sorry. I missed that.
to say that this whole thing is dumb because you've probably been playing on easy modes for your entire life without even realizing it. And that is not an opinion. Heck, it is barely even a theory.
Dark Souls has no easy modes. False using any of the following counts as easy modes. Giants, DMB, SLB, WOG, Dust, Crowns, Dark Magic, and anything over 40
A game theory, it's just a fact. It is literally a fact. If you read articles on sites like Gamasutra or you listen to talks from events like GDC, it becomes clear. Game developers lie to you. They artificially manufacture scenarios that heighten tension to make you feel better at the game than you really are. And some of the best reviewed, most beloved games in history have difficulty sliders that you never even realized exist. It feels like this has been an issue that's been waiting to boil over forever. I mean, let's be honest, games haven't always been the kindest to people looking to calibrate the challenge down to a level where they're comfortable. I mean, Doom and Wolfenstein are both infamous for naming their easier difficulty settings things like "Thou needest a wet nurse" or "Yellow bellies are us." For every "hurt me plenty" mode, there's an equally embarrassing "can I play daddy" mode, where suddenly your epic hero is shown wearing a baby bonnet and sucking on a pacifier. Over in the visual...
Ouch! That burn! Ouch, that roasts! My gosh.
Shame category, meanwhile, are games like Metal Gear Solid 5 and I Wanna Be the Guy, which force players who take the easier routes to wear chicken hats or bows in their hair as symbols of their gamer weakness. See, Hideo Kojima, this chicken hat here, this is why you can't work at Konami anymore, my
The gamer weakness. No.
friend. Where you saw a chicken hat of shame, Konami saw $4 of microtransaction going to waste. People pay for this sort of stuff right now. But all of this is small stuff, right? You swallow your pride, you press onward, and you don't have to deal with it too much anymore. The worst situations here are the times where the actual endings or more gameplay is gated behind the hardest difficulty settings. Twisted Metal 2, for instance, would only give you one level and one boss to play through before it threw up on the screen a stop sign with the words "No losers allowed." Why offer the mode if you're just offering me one level to play? Though sometimes the alternative to offering the full game wasn't much better. I will never forget playing through Star Wars Shadows of the Empire for the N64 as a kid. I wasn't good at third-person shooters when I was growing up, so I knocked back the difficulty to easy, only to get to the very end of a very long game and learn that I wouldn't actually know if my character had survived the final battle until I played through the entire game again on harder modes. So you know what I did, Internet? I played through the whole game again.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got good, and I saw that Dash Rendar survive, and it was anticlimactic, but I got really good at the game. Same story with Superman 64. Yeah, Superman effing 64, one of the worst games ever printed onto a cartridge. Superman 64 actually hides its true ending behind multiple difficulty settings. And it's not just the normal difficulty setting, but if you want to see the ending of this amazing game, you gotta put it on hard mode. Let me tell you, as someone who beat this game 3 times to get that sweet, sweet ending cinematic, oh, it was so worth it. I mean, look at this camera work. Nay, the word camera work is too mundane a word for what you are seeing behind me on screen right now. What this is can only be described as artistry. Brings tears to my eyes just thinking about the time that I experienced this as a kid. Would that our mere YouTube videos looked as artistic as the ending of Superman 64?
Oh, let me try. Yep, definitely a lot of yep. My viewers are definitely going off. Sorry.
The long and short of it is that since the earliest days of gaming, many franchises have fostered some form of negative attitude towards easy modes. They've given rise to this get good mentality, but it's hypocritical. It's all smoke and mirrors, because behind the scenes, they've been concocting these secret ways to make us all think that we're better at these games than we really are. Ken Levine, one of the creators behind BioShock, admitted in a now deleted tweet that the first enemy shot in BioShock will always miss you. Quote from Twitter. First shots in BioShock always missed. That was the design. Think it got fully implemented. End quote. It was a way to prevent players from getting killed out of the blue, and instead give them a warning to be on their guard and start reacting. And that's not all that BioShock would do to help the player. According to another designer, this time Paul Hellquist, quote again, in BioShock, if you would have taken your last point of damage, you instead were invulnerable for about 1 to 2 seconds, so you get more barely survived moments. And if you thought that was enough, BioShock was like, hold my beer, because we're still not done. Even the life bar in this game was a lie. In both easy and medium difficulties, you can actually take one more hit than your health bar might lead you to believe. The first hit that would kill you instead reduces your remaining life to 1. The only way to disable this in the game is by playing it on either hard or survivor modes. To this day, BioShock is one of the most praised FPS games in history.
True. That makes sense. Like, the gamer is like, yes, I completed it, awesome, without dying too much.
Guess who else works in these little life bar hacks? According to game design lead at ArenaNet, Jennifer Sherla, Assassin's Creed, where the last bit of health is valued just a wee bit more to give you the feeling of having just survived the encounter. Oh yeah, and Doom, you know, the game that openly mocks players for choosing easier difficulties. Yeah, that one actually has systems in place that artificially raise your threat levels, increase your guard, and give you more staying power as your health depletes. Meaning that a health bar that looks like it might just only have 10% left might actually be closer to 20% full. Ooh. According to Jennifer, these are, quote, mechanics that are designed to build tension in combat, giving the player a feeling of just barely surviving difficult situations while keeping them safer than you assume.
Oh my gosh, keeping them safer. Gosh.
End quote. According to Sherla, there's actually a biochemical reason that these mechanics give players a positive feeling, something that we've actually covered here on Game Theory before. Quote again, endorphin rushes are something that everybody's experienced at some point.
Endorphin rushes. True. Endorphin rushes. Yay, scientific term.
Point. Think of that high feeling of getting through a difficult situation and the sharp focus that ensues. It feels good. And she's not the only one talking this way. During a keynote speech at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco,
Game Developer Conference, GDC.
So Sid Meier, the guy whose name is on top of every Civilization game, he said this. Roll that clip.
Gameplay is a psychological experience. In real life, you don't always win. However, in the world of games, you pretty much always win. The psychological phenomenon is that the player doesn't really complain about that. I don't get letters saying, dear Sid, I loved your game, but I won way too much.
Giving the player extra health or making their weapons do more damage. Without revealing these things to the player, these are all ways of letting them win more often, without making it feel like the game is necessarily easier. And that seems to be the key idea here, without revealing it to the player, because apparently when you do, you get controversies like the Sekiro Easy mode issue that's come up. But I already hear the big complaint that you people who are always looking to pick a fight have revving up in the comments right now. This is all inbuilt into these games. Sure, they may be lies, but they're standard systems of that game, so it's not like I'm suddenly playing an easier game because of them. Normal difficulty is still normal difficulty, even if my health gauge and weapon output might be lying to me. These are just systems that are built into the game to make them more exciting and not necessarily easier.
Not necessarily easier, but more exciting. After all, it's the players who are playing it, isn't it? Not like, even if the players is even if you make it a super easy mode, if the player is not used to it, you'll still lose.
And yeah, you know what? You're right. Or at least you would be right if many of these games out there didn't also autocorrect themselves based on your performance. It's actually called dynamic difficulty adjustment.
Dynamic difficulty adjustments. That means, I think what it means is that it will change automatically, I guess.
Tell you, it is everywhere in games. The original Crash Bandicoot series, for instance. These games are brutal, requiring precise platforming and complex 3D environments. The first game in particular was especially unforgiving, which is why, in a huge article discussing the evolution of the Crash series, co-creators Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin were very honest about how they corrected for this challenge in later installments. Quote, and it's a big one, so forgive me if I read it here, "We had realized that if a novice player died a lot of times, we could give them an Aku Aku." That's the masks that serve as health in the Crash Bandicoot series. At the start of a round, and they had a better chance to progress. And we figured out that if you died a lot when running from a boulder, well, we could just slow the boulder down a little each time. If you died too much, a fruit crate would suddenly become a continue point. Eventually, everyone succeeded at Crash. Our mantra became help weaker players without changing the game for the better players. We called all this DDA, Dynamic Difficulty Adjustment. See? Told you this was important, and at the time, the extent to which we did it was pretty novel. It would lead later Crash games to be the inclusive, perfectly balanced games they became. Good player, bad player, everyone loved Crash games.
Good player, I agree with you. Good player, bad player, everybody love to play games.
They never realized it because they were all playing a slightly different game, balanced for their specific needs. Wow. That says it all right there. Episode over. Except not episode over. I need to give you more examples than just Crash. It would be one thing if Crash was the only game to use this DDA system, but it's not. Let's take another look at BioShock. Again, according to this thread on Twitter, quote, "Did we nerf Big Daddies after player death to prevent fail spiral? We did with Big Sis in Bio 2 because she picks the fights." End quote. Enemies suddenly get made easier based on whether or not you died to them, which isn't as uncommon as you might think. The Silent Hill series is all about fear coming from a feeling of powerlessness. You rarely have a weapon in these games, and more often than not, your best option is just to run ahead. Silent Hill Shattered Memories had these nightmare sequences, where your character would be pursued by little demon baby looking things called Rawshocks. But according to game designer Sam Barlow, for every death that you had to the Rawshocks, and every time you had to respawn, the AIs are actually robbed of one of their senses. And I do mean senses, like smell, hearing, or sight. After one too many of those deaths, the enemy number just gets reduced outright. But perhaps the single best example of this is Resident Evil 4. Yeah, what many gamers consider to be the best Resident Evil game, one of the best horror games, and even a top game of all time.
That's a lot of awards, a lot of achievements.
It too adjusts the difficulty for you as you play. Now, I could stand here and explain it to you, but why would you want to listen to me when you can instead have expert Resident Evil 4 speedrunner JTB at last year's Summer Games Done Quick explain it for you? Take it away, JTB.
GDQ, Games Done Quick.
There's this thing called difficulty adjustment. Based on how you're doing in the game, the way the enemies react towards you will actually change. So if you're like doing really badly, getting hit a lot, enemies are going to become a little bit weaker, a little bit more passive. If you're doing really well, they're going to be really hostile, all that kind of stuff.
For a really clear example of exactly what JTB was just describing, take this moment from the Super Best Friends playthrough of Resi 4. Super Best Friends. R.I.P. They enter into the room, which is known as the infamous water room in this game, and you can clearly see 9 enemies who are about to strike. 7 along the bottom, and then 2 in these 2 balconies along the top. Now, Matt and Pat die, and they have to reload the room, except this time, do you notice anything missing?
Oh wait, there's the 2 enemies at the balcony.
Something different? Which of these things is not like the other? Well, if you look closely at the balconies, you'll notice that those 2 guys that used to be up there, poof, disappeared. They're now gone. The difficulty level for them didn't switch. It just dynamically adjusted based
It's like Coke like Diet Coke.
on their play. And unless they were looking really closely for it, they would have never noticed while they were playing. In fact, they didn't notice any change. If you want an incredible analysis of how dynamic difficulty works for this particular game, I recommend watching this video from the channel Game Maker's Toolkit. By the way, it's really good.
GMTK, Game Maker's Toolkit.
It's also really short. It's from a couple years ago on YouTube, so 5 minutes, baby. So good. YouTube 2019, 20 minutes or bust. so long. But best of all, sometimes the games don't even care how you're doing before sliding the difficulty sliders for you.
Okay,
Epic
no.
Games, you heard of them? Created a little game called Fortnite. I don't know, kind of an indie darling. They were aware of the importance of psychology and how it affects the way that people play games years ago.
They'll be asking, is it okay if I ask a question? How does getting owned feels like?
Way back when they were working on Gears of War. According to Lee Perry, who was previously a lead designer at Epic, they found out that, quote, 90% of first-time players don't play a second multiplayer match if they don't get themselves the kill. That first game's important, so we started you off with some major advantages, like additional damage bonuses that tapered off with your first few kills. End quote. That information surfaced in 2017, a full decade after the release of that original Gears of War game on Xbox 360, and it's probably a good thing that players didn't know about this back when it was going on. First off, it would probably rob new players of the feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment that it was designed to instill, and secondly, can you imagine the amount of salts from people who felt like they'd been unfairly killed by a new player who was getting a free damage bonus? I don't know about you, but it does kind of make me wonder what sort of tweaking they've been doing quietly behind the scenes in Fortnite. Huh? Think about that. Maybe there's a reason Fortnite's as popular as it is, but that's a theory for another day. Anyway, the long and short of it is this. Dynamic difficulty is a real thing that exists in tons of games that you've been playing. It's also been around for literally decades in this industry. Sure, it takes a lot of different forms. Damage buffs, misleading HUD information, enemy AI tweaks, extra items, whatever. And it's in lots of games regardless of genre.
That's a lot of games, a lot of genres. That's true. That's absolutely true. Just the main important is make the game fun,
Regardless of whether you're playing
educational, exciting, beneficial.
on easy mode or hard mode. It's just
spread the positivity around.
not something the game industry publicizes all that much. And probably for good reason. At the end of the day, they just want you to have fun while feeling heroic. And revealing the way the trick gets done kind of ruins that illusion that they're trying to create. Which is why I'm here! Game Theory, ruining the fun of video games for 8 solid years. Yay us! So, ask
Yes. And 2020, yeah, 10 years already. Actually, more than 10 years already. More than 10 years.
yourself this. Is it better to choose your easy mode or let the game make that choice for you? I honestly don't know. Debate it out in the comments. I think it's actually a fascinating discussion. Anyway, with all this new information, maybe that Twitter meme that's been going around in the wake of the Sekiro drama should look a little bit more like this. They've been cheating not only the game, but the gamer. We haven't grown. We haven't improved. They've given us shortcuts without us knowing. We've gained nothing. We experienced a hollow victory. Nothing was risked, nothing was gained. It's sad that we didn't know the difference. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Oh gosh. The more you know. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I sincerely appreciate it. If you do like more of these videos, do check out more of my videos from my channel. And if you do like my videos, please consider to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and comment down below on the comments section below. And do remember to follow my channel as well. So it's like, share, subscribe, comment, follow, and yeah. The video that I just reacted to came from the YouTube channel, The Game Theorist. Their videos are amazing. I do highly recommend that you check them out. They are amazing individuals with a lot of good works. Yes. And also I'm a huge fan. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you next time. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. Ching, ching, have fun and spread the positivity. Thank you. subscribe. Please, 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 please subscribe. Thank you, please.